Welcome. Today, we're on a linguistic journey through Africa. Ever wondered about the stories behind the names of every African country? Well, buckle up, because that's exactly what we're diving into today. From ancient tales to cultural roots, join me as we unravel the fascinating origins of each African nation's name. Let's dive in. Let's start with a simple one, Algeria. The name derives from the city of Algiers. The most common etymology links the city name to Al-Jazair, which means the islands, a truncated form of the city's older names, Jazair Bani Mazgana, islands of the Mazgana tribe. What about Angola? The name comes from the Portuguese colonial name, Reino de Angola, appearing as early as in the Dias de Novais' 1571 charter. The toponym was derived by the Portuguese from the title Ngola, held by the kings of Ndongo, Benin. During the colonial period and at independence, the country was known as Dahomey. To get rid of the colonial past, it was renamed in 1975 to Benin after the Benin Empire, even though the empire never held territory near the current nation. Now, the name Benin could mean vexation in Yoruba. Next up is Botswana, the country of the Tswana in Setswana, after the country's dominant ethnic group. The etymology is uncertain. Livingstone derived it from the Setswana Tswana, which means equal or alike, others from a word for free. Next up is Burkina Faso. It means land of the honest men, from an amalgam of more Burkina, meaning honest, upright, or incorruptible men, and Dioula Faso, father's house, selected by the President Thomas Sankara following his 1983 coup to replace the colonial name of Alto Volta, upper turn in Portuguese. Burundi, German and later Belgian colony named after the main kingdom of Burundi. Bu or Bo means land in Bantu languages, but Rundi is of unknown origin. Cameroon, shrimp from the Portuguese Rio de Camarões, meaning shrimp river, bestowed in 1472 on account of a massive swarm of the Wouri River's ghost shrimp. What about Cape Verde? This means green cape, from the Portuguese Cabo Verde, a name given by Portuguese explorers in 1444. Central African Republic. It means just that, a republic in Central Africa. Chad. It comes from the Lake Chad, in the country's southwest, whose name derives from the Kanuri Tsade Lake. So it basically means lake, Comoros. From the Arabic Jazair al-Qamar, meaning islands of the moon. Now we got the Ivory Coast. It's self-descriptive. It comes from its previous involvement in the ivory trade. Democratic Republic of the Congo, named after the River Congo, which, according to one etymology, took its name from the mountain it came from. The same goes for the Republic of the Congo. Following up, we got Djibouti. The country's name has been traced to its district Gabout, the Afar Gabuti, a king of doormat made from palm fibers. Egypt. The name Egypt comes from the Greek Aegyptos, which was the Greek pronunciation of the ancient Egyptian name Haka-Ptah, mansion of the spirit of Ptah, originally the name of the city of Memphis. Guinea. From the Berber language Ginawan, Aguinau, or Aguinau, which means black. What about Eritrea? It means land of the Red Sea, adopted in 1993 upon independence from Ethiopia, from the Italian colony established in 1890, named by Francesco Crispi on the suggestion of Carlo Dossi. It was italicized from the Latin transcription Mare Erythraeum of the Greek Erythra Thalassa, Ethiopia. It comes from the Greek Ethiopia, from Aethiopes, meaning charred complexion, where aphtho means I burn, and ops means I face complexion. What about Gabon? Cloak anglicized from the Portuguese gabao, bestowed on the Como River estuary for its supposed resemblance to a gabao, a kind of pointy hooded overcoat whose name derives from the Arabic Kaaba. Gambia. It comes from the Portuguese word cambio, meaning exchange or trade, from the region's extensive involvement in the slave trade. Continuing with Ghana, which means warrior king, and was the title accorded to the kings of the medieval West African Empire. Next up, we got Kenya. It originates from the Kikuyu, Embu, and Kamba names for Mount Kenya, Kirinyaga, Kirinya, and Kenya, respectively. The spots of the black rock and the white snow could be the origin of the words Kirinyaga, which means spotted. Lesotho, land of the Basotho, or of the Sesotho speakers. Basotho formed from the plural prefix ba and sotho of uncertain etymology, although it could be related to the word motho, meaning human being. Liberia, from the Latin word liber, which means free. Named after the country was established as a homeland for freed African-American slaves in 1820. Libya, named after the ethnic group Libu by the ancient Greeks. Until the country's independence in 1951, the term Libya was applied to the vast desert between the Tripolitanian lowland and the Fezzan Plateau. Moving on to Madagascar, it was named in the 13th century after the explorer Marco Polo butchered the name as he was trying to say Mogadishu, the Somali port with which Polo had confused the island, but he ended up saying Madagascar. That a curious one for sure. Malawi, possibly based on a native word meaning flaming water or tongues of fire, believed to have derived from the sun's dazzling reflections on Lake Malawi. What about Mali? The name was chosen in 1959 after the ancient West African kingdom of the same name. The word Mali means hippopotamus in Malinke and Bomana. It was known as French Sudan before. Mauritania, Latin word for land of the Moors, or literally land of the blacks. Next up is Mauritius. The Dutch Admiral Wybrand van Warwick named this island Prince Maurits van Nassau-Eiland in 1598 after Maurice of Nassau, Stadtholder of Holland and Prince of Orange. Ironically, Maurisec also means black in Latin. Moving on with Morocco, the word comes from the ancient capital Marrakech, the name of which probably derives from the Berber word Amur and Ukuk, which means land of God. Mozambique, from the name of the island of Mozambique, which probably comes from the name of a previous Arab ruler, the Sheikh Musa ben Mbiki. And Namibia? It derives from the Namib Desert, which means area where there is nothing in the Nama language. Niger, called Black or Niger by Latin speaker but could be named after the Niger River, from a native term Nigir or River Gir, or from the Tuareg term Negiren. Nigeria, named by the British journalist Flora Shaw in 1897 in reference to the Niger River. Next up is Rwanda, derived from the Kinyarwanda verb kwanda, meaning the expansion. What about Sao Tome and Principe? This has to be Portuguese, right? Well, you're right. It comes from St. Thomas in Portuguese for its discovery on St. Thomas Day, 23rd December 1470 or 1471. Príncipe means prince in Portuguese, from shortening its original name, Ilha do Príncipe, Island of the Prince. Senegal, named after the Senegal River. One popular theory is that it stems from the Wolof phrase, Sunu Gal, which means our canoe, resulting from a miscommunication between 15th century Portuguese sailors and Wolof fishermen. Seychelles, named after Jean Moreau de Seychelles, finance minister to King Louis XV of France. Next up is Sierra Leone, adopted from the Portuguese word Serra Leoa, Lion Mountains. It was named by the Portuguese explorer Pedro de Sintra after the striking mountains he saw in 1562 while sailing the West African coast, although it remains unclear what exactly made the mountains look like lions. Somalia, the name Somali. It held to be derived from the words Sioux and Mal, which together mean go and milk. South Africa. The ancient Romans used the name Africa Terra, land of the Afri, for the northern part of the continent that corresponds to modern-day Tunisia. The word Afri might have derived from Greek Afriki, which means sunny. So South Africa could mean southern sunny land. What about Sudan? It derives from the land of the blacks from the Arabic belad as Sudan, which originally referred to most of the Sahel region. If so, South Sudan means the southern part of the land of the blacks. Tanzania, land of the Tanganyika and Zanzibar, a simplification of the original name which the country had assumed upon independence in 1964. Tanganyika was named for its lake. Richard Burton derived it from the local tu Tanganyika, meaning to join in the sense of where waters meet. Henry Stanley derived it from Tanganyika, meaning flat island. Zanzibar was an Arabic name meaning black coast. Togo, from Togo, modern Togoville, derived from the U word to and go, which mean water and shore, respectively. Continuing with Tunisia, it means land of Tunis, the capital. The word Tunis possibly derives from the Berber ians, meaning to lie down or to rest. Next up is Uganda. Buganda in Swahili, adopted by the British as the name of their colony in 1894. Buganda was the kingdom of the 52 clans of the Baganda. Zambia. The territory of what is now Zambia was known as Northern Rhodesia from 1911. It was renamed Zambia on the occasion of its independence in 1964. The name Zambia was derived from the Zambezi River. Finally, we got Zimbabwe. It was originally known as Southern Rhodesia from 1923 till 1965. The word is based on a Shona term for Great Zimbabwe, an ancient ruined city in the country's southeast whose remains are now a protected site. Various sources hold that the word is derived from Dzimba Dzamabwe, translated from the Karanga dialect of Shona as large houses of stone. That was it. Leave a like if you'd like me to do the same with the other continents. Thanks for watching.